All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second quarterly execution review this week. Commissioners, anything before we start?
I'm good.
Okay, just as a reminder, we are going through the performance measures for all the departments within under Tamara's leadership, and then we will what we're going to do is go through the performance measures first, and then we will come back to the strategic plan and then go through the initiatives. And when we start talking about some of those initiatives, like we did 2 days ago with public safety, we want to start looking at some of those initiatives with the thoughts of closing some of those out. And so our strategic plan, as we all know, is going to be complete by the end of calendar year 2026. So we have just less than a year and a half or so to finish that up. So a lot of great work being done. Just want to make sure that we look at some of those initiatives that have turned into kind of business as usual, and then start thinking about how we're going to close those out and then work on our next strategic plan based on what the commissioners want to see as far as their goals go. So, Tamara, you want to take it away?
Happy to be here this morning and looking forward to hearing about all the great work that's being done. I know that we have made so much progress and we're getting close. We are evaluating this and meeting regularly to talk about strategic initiatives and where we're at. So we can go ahead and get started. We're going to start with IT this morning, and then we'll go into HR. So we'll start with the performance measures first. And so the first one is to reach 10% survey completion rate for IT support user experience surveys. So David, you want to tell us about this one?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, commissioners, leaders. I'm David West, the CIO in the IT department, and the first performance measure we're going to look at for IT is to reach 10% surveys completed on what we do is we send out work orders. We request that the end users respond and give us some feedback on how the IT department is providing service. And honestly, people do not like to do surveys. I know if you call customer service and they say at the end of this call, please hit 0 to do a survey. 95% of people probably are not going to do a survey, and we're seeing that we're dropping down below 10%. It's trending below 10% that we're getting on our feedback. So, and we're struggling with that. We're not struggling on the results. We're seeing good positive, and you'll see in the next performance measure. We're seeing good positive numbers. We're just not getting the staff to respond to them that we would like, and I think that's industry-wide. Any survey.
One of the things we're planning to do to remedy this is we are working on a comprehensive recognition and rewards program. So this is something Michael's working on, and we were going to touch on this in another measure. But doing like the incentives for fill out these surveys and you have a chance to win a gift card and things like that. So that's one of the things that we're going to be working on over this next quarter to try to get these surveys up and get more completion on them.
I agree with you. I think it's difficult. A lot of people just don't like to do them. I get it. This measure really isn't a measure. I think the next one, when we talk about it, is really going to be the measure that we're looking at. So this one is good for us to track, but it's external to you. It's almost impossible for you to control this. I think that's a good idea, Tamara. And I think also it comes back to department heads and others just trying to get that word out to their employees, just to make sure that we take it seriously. It's important. Typically, when you see a survey, a lot of times, it's people that take the surveys really great or really bad, right? And so it's those other ones that we want to try and capture, the bulk of people that we do well on or not so well. I mean, the whole purpose is to try and measure that performance to see, identify areas where we can improve. So, all right, I think that's a good idea. We'll see what this looks like next time we go through the QER.
All right, the next one is to average 95% good or better on these surveys.
And sure, and this, like Mr. Powell said, this is the meat and potatoes of the surveys. And Michael, if you'll scroll down a little bit, you'll see some 95s. You keep going a little further if you can. You'll see that we're consistently above our 95%, and And that's good because, most of these are happy customers though. A commissioner called in and he can't get his due to work, and we made his day, and so we're gonna get good positive feedback from something like that, or whatever we may have saved somebody's day or got to their files, or we've been pretty successful. You're not gonna get the disgruntled type employee on these numbers here, but we are happy. This communicating better with the public in the county strategic plan. Well, these 95, 98, it helps our staff better communicate and be successful in our strategic plan.
I think you will. I mean, if you have somebody that really did not appreciate the work that was done, I think you're gonna.
We've seen one or two, yeah. We do, but
okay.
not like the positive ones.
Yeah, but as long as we use this through the intent, just for those especially. Just to identify whatever the gap might have been and just improve upon. So, okay.
Yes.
Any comments on this one? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. All right, thank you.
The next one is to meet a 95% success rate of audio-visual hosting of public meetings without incident. This was an area we were really, really struggling in a year and a half, 2 years ago, and there has just been such a significant turnaround. So, David, go ahead and tell us about this.
Again, Michael, if you'll scroll down to the history, we were doing really, really well, 99, 99 every time. Then during this quarter, we had a commission meeting, and an HDMI cable got bumped and got disconnected, and then your dais, you lost your displays. I'm sure you guys remember that meeting. And so that knocked our numbers down a little bit to 95, but we've been very successful. This is the one that keeps all of us up at night. I mean, this is, like Tamara just said, this is a year and a half ago, we were struggling mightily. And so I'm very confident in our AV, and we're making strides every day. We're started a project over at the library to mirror everything we do in this room we can do over at the library. And so we'll be able to live stream when we have the big meetings over there. And so the HR's going to have where they're moving on the third floor, we're going to hopefully put a nice conference room with some audio video technology in there as well. So this is very, very important for us so the public sees what we're doing.
So one of the things, just that commissioners, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but every meeting that we have, David or somebody from his staff actually is not here, home, remote, somewhere, logs into the meetings, and then just gives us a report. So to kind of mirror what the public would be doing on the, watching some of these meetings, we want to make sure that we have somebody out there as well, just to see if the sound's good, see if the video's good, whatever it might be, just tracking it. So that's just something else, an extra step that we take. Now, just to make sure that all those meetings are really, I think the biggest part has been the sound challenge over the years.
Right. Sure. And this meeting right now, AV sounds awesome. No feedback, no hum like we used to get a year and a half ago. We'd get pops, and it was just not good. So we're very confident in our AV right now.
Could you offer perhaps the areas of challenge we experience on any particular facility?
I say, well, I don't know.
We've really focused on this over the last 2 to 3 years in budget. So the historic courthouse used to be terrible with the audio, video. It just, every single meeting there were complaints from the public. So we redid that entire system all the way down to taking out all the wiring and rewiring the whole thing. So the historic courthouse is in good shape. We do have challenges at casino. That room is not really designed to have great audio, video quality there. So we've done some work over there.
We actually moved out. The island planning was actually moved to the courthouse, where that's a professional setup. Room 108, I think it is the one that Tamara's talking about. It's just a tiny little conference room. It's not designed for live stream, YouTube live or anything like that. And we didn't put the capital into it. If we were going to do something along that level, we would do that in the theater, and that's a different kind of challenge there. The island players wouldn't want to give that up to us for having a bunch of meetings in there. So Yeah, moving it to downtown has been, you know, I think pretty successful.
And, this room has really improved greatly. I think we're, pretty much great on this every time. So we're working on the library still. That's one that he mentioned that we're going to do. What else is out there? Those are our main rooms that we live stream from.
Yeah, any new building we are undertaking, say the new Juvenile Justice Center, it will have all new courtroom technology. The new EOC will have technology built into it. Anything we do, we will set up to have this type of audio video quality.
Okay, thank you.
It's made some upgrades too. We all have a lot of meetings in the conference room upstairs outside of my office, and so that was a challenge. And so we just made some. They actually last week made some upgrades, so hopefully that we'll see once we have a few more meetings in there.
Yes, you're going to be our guinea pig on the new technology, so hopefully that will be successful.
All right, and then the last one for IT is to migrate 10% of our county-wide communication circuits from leased lines to private connectivity to reduce cost and increase performance. And I know this has been something y'all have been working on quite a bit lately, so give us an update.
So the way we look at this is if we have 1,000 copper lines, our goal would be to cut 100 of them. So what we have is we have hundreds of legacy-based communications lines, and we're in the process of getting rid of them. In fact, AT&T is the primary provider of this technology, and they're also in the process of doing away with copper lines. But the success we've had in this area, we may bring down the number of copper lines, but budgetarily we're not reducing it because mobile communications is going up in a different direction because everybody wants mobile data right now, and so we are seeing reduction in this area as far as getting rid of that technology. Budgetarily, it's kind of a wash because we have every first responder, they all have mobile data now, so they have to have it, and staff members have mobile data too. If you are working an issue, your phone will blow up with text and calls and emails until you get the issue resolved. So mobile data is going to hurt us on the budget reduction, but the technology is quickly changing. It's going to more mobile and fiber. Everybody's going to fiber right now. So we're good. We've cut 35% of the copper lines we addressed. Now we cut 35% of them. But we'll continue on with this, and phase 2 of SPLOST 2022 will really help this. The entire island, all the county buildings on the island will all be on fiber, and that will allow us to get rid of some more copper lines as well.
So this one I think we can actually mark it as achieved because our goal was to migrate 10%, and we've already hit 35%, but we're going to just keep going with that, until we get a whittle down.
Sure, and then we will change this not to just copper, but convert leased fiber to private fiber where we can. We'll come up with a different measure in communications.
I would say something along the lines of maybe on the cyber side or threat side.
Okay.
Maybe take a look. And,
sure.
We don't want to create a measure that's that we're not. We want to. It has to be meaningful into something that you're doing. Or like I said, some of these measures are business that we're doing. Some of these are good news stories, but some of these we want to have these stretches where we actually are trying to achieve a certain level or a goal. And so maybe take a look there. I'm trying to think if there's any other areas within IT that, or you guys come up. You guys.
Sure, cyber is very good. How many thwarted attacks in a certain period, but I don't want to post about.
No, I know. You guys are more than that. Yeah.
We don't want to put ourselves out there like that, but
that's probably.
Yeah. Take us on. No, we don't want that.
Well,
but that's a good suggestion though in that area.
But that's one we can take offline too.
Sure.
I agree. Thank you.
All right, so we'll go ahead and transition over to the human resources performance measures and get an update on those. So the first one is to average 90% good or better overall experience rating from internal user satisfaction surveys. So please tell us about this one.
Good morning, everyone. Dwayne Pollock here, Dwayne Pollock, HR Director. With me today, I have two of my team members. I have Fred Lockey, which is our HR and Benefits Analyst, and I also have Michael Salty here with me, HR Generalist. I'm going to have them represent our HR department today and speak on these measures.
And good morning. So Michael here. So we're very close to that 90%. At the beginning of the year, we launched automated surveys that would go to new hires. So whenever they reach a 6-month mark from their hire date, there's a automatic trigger that goes out via Paycom launch to their email address, personal and private, and they'll also have a notification in Paycom itself. And right now we're tracking at 89.65% satisfaction. So right at the 90 mark, if we round up, we'd be at 90.
Michael, can you just explain what the measure is first? What are we measuring here?
Job satisfaction.
Okay, so
This is when people are hired. After 6 months, they get a series of questions that talk about how does your experience with your supervisor, do you feel like you get effective communications, things like that. And then have you all been able to gather this data as it's come in and again, this is another thing we're working on, is to be able to make this data useful for us, but identify any trends or problem areas that maybe that we can address as we move forward in this process.
We've spoken internally at our HR meetings on kind of trends. Currently, we've got 55% response rate, so people are filling out those surveys for the most part. We've been sending reminders daily to hopefully keep driving that number up. But we've discussed trends internally, but haven't came up with any plans to execute on a problem area.
So when we met, some of the executive leadership met last month to kind of talk about this overall idea of what information are we getting from the surveys and how can we put that into action? How can we make it useful for what we're trying to measure? So Michael, again, I'm so thankful for Michael's help, but he is working on a way to come up with a way to track all of this and then identify issues that we can, address and correct as we're going. And then we hope to continue to, add additional surveys going forward. So in the future, we'll have, another HR internal survey that will be targeted to, not just new employees, but, employees that have been here, a longer time, or we can, target certain areas and things like that. So that's, one of the goals is to keep this up long term and have different types of surveys, but we also don't want to bombard our staff or the public lots of surveys, so we're trying to limit it to one a month and kind of just rotate through the departments.
all right, so this one I think is important for you, particularly on the onboarding side. So how we get our employees on, how we train them, make sure that they have everything that they need when they start their job. So in the responses, do they have the opportunity to make comments as well? Okay, yeah. So I think those are telling as well. So as far as like identifying trends, if there's gaps that we see with might be Paycom, it might be some of the onboarding things that they have, might be their supervisor, how they're brought into their department, whatever it might be. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So as you guys can track those and then just let us know if there's areas that we can help. But it's really for you guys to make any adjustments that you need to, but working with the department heads. Yeah, thank you.
All right, the next one is to convert 50% of all payroll paper action forms to department-initiated processes by providing training to departments and creating a quick reference guide. So that measure should actually say to PAYCOM, right? Instead of Munis. So we just need to update that one. But yeah, thank you. Go ahead and tell us how this is going.
Good morning, commissioners and leaders. At the current moment, we are still in process, about 20% with working on implementing and finalizing the process for pushing payroll actions out to department heads for them to initiate that process and then finalize with HR.
Here with the tax filing and mediation
Once
agency.
we implement
Just
that
starting out
part
my
of the
follow-up
process,
for
then
the
we will continue to move on to the training stage of implementing that process for training. So right now we're about 20%. We're still working with Kamisha, who is our internal PAYCOM representative, to finalize this process for you. Hopefully, we're looking at having everything implemented for you, hopefully by the early spring of 26 for this.
PAYCOM was a huge undertaking, I think way more than any of us expected. And we've had lots of challenges and it's been a long process, but we are continuing to work through all of the different modules that were purchased and get those built out. HR has a very small staff, and it has really taxed their department trying to get all of these modules up and running. So I appreciate all the work. Michael, he came on, and when we hired him, I told Dwayne, I said, I want his focus to be the strategic plan. Let's get through this and get through these implementations. So he has done a phenomenal job building out the different areas of the program, and we continue to work on that. We still have some more to go, but I think by the end of the strategic plan, we should have everything implemented.
Good. Yeah, a lot of bumps in the road, but it's starting to pay off. So, all right, thank you.
All right, so the next one that we looked at was we wanted to try to find some efficiencies through the onboarding and new hire orientation process. So a lot of times, when we have new hire orientation, it is every other week, and it's 3.5 full days, or 2.5 days. So we wanted to be able to reduce that time because that was taking pretty much the entire HR department out of service for a good 3 days every other week. We just don't have the staffing bandwidth to do that. So we wanted to move some of the more academic areas of onboarding, like FMLA, workers' comp, some of these things that are really just more academic, to an online platform. So please tell us how that's going.
So the LMS portion of PAYCOM has been launched. There are a series of PAYCOM delivered trainings on there, and specifically to the new hire orientation. Some of those in-person trainings are being recorded now and turned into MP4 files, which will then upload into PAYCOM. And then eventually those collection of recordings will be turned into a checklist that will be assigned. So right now, new hires are assigned a checklist to verify their data, make sure the home address is okay, contact information. This would be just another checklist for them to go through, and they would have line item, and they can go through at their own pace, and we don't have to have them come on site.
So we do plan to still continue probably a half a day of in-person orientation where we talk about culture and customer service and really, kind of focus on some of those bigger picture type things and not spend all of our time with the academic pieces. And then they'll be able to do the academic pieces online.
All right. Yep, good.
Right, and the final one for HR is to receive 75% of qualifying life benefit events through the employee self-service request. So let us know. This one looks like we've achieved it.
So we have actually achieved this process. Really, it was a culture change for the employees because they're used to dealing with HR in person. So now what we had to do is we went through with retraining the employees as they come in with the documents into HR. We'll take the time out and say, hey, let me sit down and show you how to actually implement this through our Paycom system, do an orientation. We do orient the employees that we will be pushing all qualifying life event changes through the Paycom system so they are aware. It's just a mindset. But they're willing to make that change, and they have adapted really well with that. So we are at 100% of this. And then it also process, and it makes the process a lot faster without going through paper. So this is one of the focuses that we really wanted to try to make sure that we had set and ready to go with business orientation. And then we also have open enrollment coming up as well. So we're trying to implement these processes to make the benefits portion a lot easier.
So we've moved pretty much all of our benefits management, enrollment, sign-in, sign-up, all of that is now online through a good, easy process. And so this measure is tracking when a life change occurs for someone and they have a child or there is a marriage and they have to put someone on their insurance or take someone off. They can do that now online 100% without having to bring copies of all the documents into HR.
All right. Well, so that's the last one. You know, one of the things I was curious about is staffing and time to hire. And I know at the federal government, it's a huge challenge. It was a huge challenge for us, and that's something we used to measure. But a lot of it had to do with clearances and just the time that backgrounds took. But what are we seeing as far as challenges across the board? I know some positions we're having a real hard time hiring, and a lot of it is just due to where the level is and maybe what the compensation is, and just the lack of, I guess, qualified applicants out there. So is there anything there that we can, and some of it might be department-based as opposed to HR-based, but is there anything there that we can start looking at? Or do we have, because we hear about some of these challenges that we have, particularly not in some of those more skilled positions, but do we have challenges across the board in some of our other departments? I know, public safety is a little bit different, and so they have to go through a little bit different process, but public works, parks and rec, engineering, are there any ways for us to improve there, or are there any identified gaps that we have?
No gaps that we've noticed as a group. We've had, as far as the time to hire for public works and recreation, a quick turnaround. Mm-hmm. We can get background checks and all the pre-employment requirements done pretty swiftly to get them processed and ready to go literally within 3 or 5 days. Typically, from the time we receive the documentation in HR, we can get it rolled out in 3 to 5 business days.
This is a huge improvement over where we used to be, which was 30 to 45 days to hire. Yes. And so, I mean, this is multifaceted. We now do all of our drug screening and physicals at the employee clinic. So that has been a huge help. You used to have to go sit down at the Apple urgent care and wait for 3 or 4 hours with everyone that had strep throat and the flu. So, this has been a great improvement to the process with Dr. Chandler and his group. The other thing that we're doing, you can tell them about and this may come up later in the strategic plan discussion, but tell them about the all online process for applications, interviews, and where we're at in getting that set up.
Yes, so in Paycom we have the applicant tracking module of Paycom where the applicants apply online. It's very seamless. It's not as tedious as it used to be on a former system. Very streamlined, easy application, 4 pages max, not 16 or 20 like we had in the past. So it's very streamlined. We've got some good reviews and calls about that. Not a lot of phone calls from applicants. Hey, I can't sign. I'm having this issue logging in. Once the candidate has applied, we then forward the applications electronically through Paycom to the hiring managers. We have the ability to schedule interviews online, communications to the applicants online can be done. So it's a very streamlined process. So it doesn't tie down HR as much. Given our limited staff, we have the ability now to be more efficient with other duties throughout our department. So certainly streamline our processes from the past to where we are currently.
Can I add from the Public Works and Rec and Parks perspective, the time to hire has been noticeably faster. It has been impressive. It's been better than I've seen at any agency. It's really fast, and I'm much appreciated in those high turnover departments.
Yeah, did we cover that in any initiatives?
Yeah, there's some initiatives.
Oh, we did. So, because again, that's part of it too. So there are things that we've improved upon over the last couple of years, and we want to make sure we capture that. So, nice job.
All right. Do you want to finish this group and move into the strategic plan, or swap out and do
Swap out.
Okay, so we're going to swap and finish the performance measures for the other departments, and then y'all will come back for your strategic plan portion. All right, so coming up next, we're going to have procurement, finance, and licensing and compliance, and we will go through their performance measures. And yeah, we can. Yeah, let's start with licensing and compliance.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. So this one is to achieve 90% compliance with our short-term rentals. So, Chrissy, please tell us about this.
At our last update, which was about 2 weeks ago, we had 1706 that were compliant. So we were at 98%. We're down to about 30 that we're still working with to get them on board. So
this is a measure that starts over every year. So we'll get it up to, last year we got it to 100% compliance. And then when the renewal season comes, we start at 0 again and work our way up. So great job on this, and I know y'all are continuing to work on a few properties that are out there.
we are. We've made contact with everyone that has not gotten on board. So it's just mostly clerical, them getting their stuff together, and we're going back and forth with them. So I expect us to be at 100% soon.
What's the numbers again? So how many total do we have out there?
Total 1741 and 1706 are compliant.
Okay. All right, and then I saw your other message related to different software that we could probably use to do some of the scraping, because we do think that even though that we've improved tremendously over the last couple of years in this area, so thank you. We do believe though that there's still probably more out there that we are just not aware of, and so we have another company that we're looking at to do the scrape side.
We do. The software we use, we got in 2021, so at that time, you know how technology goes so fast. So since then, there's been so many strides in this area, and the one that we're looking at right now, it's called Deckard Rentalscapes. This is for the scrape portion, and it's just really advanced that you can see photos inside you guys can log in and see photos inside the home. They can tell us from there, they don't have this, they do have this, they don't have this, and then code enforcement can enforce based on that.
Yeah, so I think what we've seen over the years, and just the ones that actually sign up, I think the real estate companies that manage these are great. I mean, they submit what they're supposed to. It's a lot of the individual owners on VRBO and I guess Airbnb and other. There's a bunch of them now that try and duck us, and so we've upped that number. But I remember I saw one at one demonstration on one of the companies, and they just pulled up St. Simon's, for instance. And I know there's a lot of redundancy. A lot of people advertise in different websites, but they have a much higher number. So it's good to know that we're hopefully going to be curious to see what that number actually is if we go through that process. We bring on a different software and then see where we actually are.
Yeah, I think so too. I do expect there maybe to be a little bit that they find that we haven't found, but even beyond that, I think they're going to help us to make sure that the ones we do know of are doing the things they're supposed to do.
Great. Okay.
All right, the next measure is to average 5 business days to close open records requests. Open records requests are just a huge challenge, and we get thousands and thousands of them every year. So I don't know if you know where we're at this year.
I do. We've had 4,234 so far this year. So we're on track to finish the year at about 7,000. That's what we expect. Our median days to close is 2, and our average days to close is 3.9. So again, something we're really proud of.
And so some of these very large open requests that we get, that we work on for several weeks, those definitely bring our numbers down on the average, but to still be at 3.9 is really fantastic. So great job to you and your staff for all the work that's gone into this.
I think it's important just to measure the workload is just phenomenal. I mean, 7,000 in a year. So what's that break down to? I think you had a number for a day, right?
Yes, 25 per day is what Chairman Neal told us last year.
Okay. Yeah, that's about right.
Yep. The next one is to increase the renewal period for occupation tax certificates by initiating the annual renewal process no later than September 1st.
We have over 4,000 occupation tax certificates and alcohol licenses we have to renew every year. Since we started doing this 2 years ago, we've been around mid-October, to get renewals started. So we're trying to back that up and increase that time both for us to process them and for folks to know and get their stuff together and get it in, to help them avoid, late renewals. So our goal is September 1st. We've already started the process, and I am confident that we will have it going by September 1st. And what I hope, I want to overpromise, but my hope is that I can keep backing this up every year. And eventually, July 1, as soon as the new fiscal year starts, we can have the renewals ready to go. And that'll give the, citizens and business owners months. Well, they already have 4 months, so they can back them up to like 6 months that they'll have to get that done. And it helps us, too, to have more time to get them processed, because it's a lot of work as well.
This is the reporting period. So what about, are we measuring the actual renewals and percentages of timeline? And
That's in the next measure.
Okay. All right. No, good. And then staffing wise again, so this is something that's big when you need it, right? And so you're pulling people from different areas to help.
Yes, for sure. Whenever we start the renewal process, they're due by February 1st. They start to get fees if they don't have them by February 1st. So from December 1st to February 1st, it's all hands on deck. Everybody in there, doesn't matter what they do, they're doing licenses.
Okay, great.
And we're very appreciative to the board for the approval of a new compliance and licensing person in the FY26 budget. So this is really going to help us. Christy's department is so diverse, and they handle a lot of different things that kind of just didn't have a home, and they all fell. Well, they ended up all falling into her department to handle. So it's not only do they handle the business license, the short-term rentals, they have customer service for the whole county in that department. They also take care of all the open records requests and contracting. So every contract, MOU, IGA that's signed goes through Christy's department. It gets filed into a digital collection place where we can search and find these contracts. If contracts require certain things to happen, they're tagged, and her department follows up on those items to make sure that those are happening. So just a lot going on. How many contracts do we have in our system currently?
Thousands. I don't have a number exactly, but I'm getting close to 2,000.
So and as contracts close out, they close those out in the system, and if there's amendments, they add those amendments too. So just a lot of tracking to ensure that we can find this. In the past, it was somewhat difficult. We would have a contract go through the board, and then it would get signed by the chairman with a pen, and then it would be maintained somewhere in the county clerk's office, but sometimes it would end up in the attorney's office, or sometimes it might end up back in the finance department or procurement. So, but we were always trying to track down these contracts and figure out who had it. So now it's all digital, it's all tracked. And using DocuSign, we have all the signatures. We're not having this whole paper shuffle and trying to figure out where to go. So this has been a great improvement as well. Anything I missed that falls under your department?
Trash.
Oh, yes, trash. Lovely trash. So Christy's team handles the residential trash administrative side of that process. So when somebody's trash doesn't get picked up, or their can is broken, or they need a second can or something like that, they go through Christy's team and our C-Click-Fix platform, and we get that information over to Republic, and we track it and make sure that Republic is responsive, and if they don't respond, we reach back out to Republic. So lots of different areas down there, so we appreciate all the work that you're doing.
And we are very grateful for that new position, and HR turned her around really fast, so she starts on Monday.
I'd like to offer kudos to Christy and your team, particularly for customer service and also the ones that address the residential trash pickup. As a customer, I have been met with very good customer service, quick turnaround. Your team has been very cordial, professional on the phone, and I can't say enough positives about them. They've done very, very well in my view. Thank you
so much for sharing.
And I'll just echo that. You know, Christy is the right person to lead the customer service initiative, because she always has a smile on her face, and it definitely starts at the top in that department with good customer service, going the extra mile to get done what needs to be done, and we really appreciate your leadership. All right. So we have two more here, and these are both related to the surveys. So this one is on internal surveys, and the other one is on external surveys. And for Christy's department, we have launched the external surveys, and we have started getting results from those. We have not launched yet the internal surveys, but because her department handles so many different things, so some of it's internal, some of it's external, so we wanted to focus on getting those external ones up and running. So if you can tell us about your external surveys and the results that you're getting.
Right now, the external survey we're looking at is for Next Request, which is the platform we use for open records. So when we close an open records request, it has a link to the survey, and we have gotten some good results. I'd like more responses, but they have all been positive. But we've gotten about, I think, 20 since we've been doing it, which has been a couple months. So I would like more people to respond, like you said. Often that's a problem, but the ones that we've gotten have all been good, and we're hoping it'll increase. And we're going to have some more added to, like C-Click-Fix. When we close those, we're going to add that as a component too. So we hope to get surveys on all of our platforms, so we can start collecting from every division.
Thank you.
Yeah, that one, we'll see where we are next time, so good. Yeah, we'll start tracking that,
All right.
get some more data.
Preston, is his a separate one, or is he part of? Okay. All right. So, Reston is over both our procurement and our capital development. So, he's going to be speaking on the procurement side of it today. So, the first one is to obtain 3 or more bids on 90% of sealed competitive solicitations.
Good morning. So, this initiative is focused on increasing the bids that we get for our solicitations, our IFBs or RFPs. Last fiscal year, we published 63 different sealed competitive bids. So we've seen a tremendous increase over the last year on how many bids we're getting on our projects. An example is our Coast Guard construction project last month that we put out the bid. We got 6 bids for the horizontal portion and 4 bids for the vertical portion, which is very good. And so the more bids you get, the more competitive pricing is, and works out better for the county and taxpayers. So we've seen an increase in this over the last 12 months. We anticipate seeing an increase as well. So we're seeing more vendor participation, more contractor participation. I think with ARPA money drying out, more projects being completed, it's opening up capacity for contractors out there, and they're hungry for some work. So we have seen a positive increase and anticipate continuing.
Yeah, I just want to stress the importance of this one. So I know in my 3 years here, this has continued to improve. You know, I love some of it is related to ARPA, we get that, but I think a lot of it is related to your efforts there, Rez, and just getting out, getting the word out, meeting with the developers, meeting with the business, offering all kinds of opportunities to recruit some of those people as well, and just reaching outside of our local area, jumping on the state contracts. I mean, there's all kinds of things that have gone into this, and the end result is for us to be able to get better pricing, and that's what really it's all about. So.
Correct. Yeah, we made a strong focus, as we say all the time, making it easier to do business with Glenn County. So that's been our strive. Maria Thompson, she's a procurement analyst. Both she and I have had vendors in here in our office going through the OpenGov system, showing how to use it. So I mean, we're very open. We try to make it as easy as possible for these vendors, and we've seen the results of that.
And that, speaking of the OpenGov process, that's not something we've always had. Just a few years ago, it was a paper submission, and people would either have to drive it in and get it here by 2 o'clock, or FedEx it and hope that it gets here. We've had situations in the past where they FedExed it and it didn't get here on time, so they were disqualified. So having the whole system online where everyone can submit their bids online has been a big improvement to that process as well.
And I think what you'll see later on too in our next session with QER is, the commissioners have told us, and they're hearing from their constituents and hearing from people out there, is just how do we make doing business with Glenn County easier across the board, not just in procurement, but everything else. And so that really, we've taken that challenge, and I think we've really done a good job of getting there. There's still a long ways to go. We can always improve, but I think it's night and day difference over what it was a couple of years ago.
So the next one kind of falls right in line with that, and that's an initiative tracking new vendors in our OpenGov system. So we've made a big push on prioritizing, trying to expand our vendor participation. We'll have some new initiatives that we're going to start implementing, which is quarterly workshops for vendors. Something we've done in the past. It's not new, but we're going to start tracking that initiative and what that outturn is. But we successfully, our initiative, which when you go back and you look through the months at the numbers, was actually pretty low, but the initiative was to average at least 5 new vendors per month, and as you can see historically, we've 18 last month, but 20, 30, so that's not an area that we are lacking in. We're continuously adding new vendors to our vendor management portal.
To reset that goal.
Yes, sir. And then the last two, although they show not started, they are started, we just don't have data to report on them now. So we have implemented external and internal surveys, so when new vendors are submitting bids, going through that process, we're now communicating a survey with them. We just don't have results to report back, but those both have been started, and next QER will have results of those.
Thank you. All right, and then the last but definitely not least is finance. So we have Judy Dunnigan, our finance director, here to go through the performance measures. The first one is to reach a 4% success rate on completing payroll with 0 errors. So even though 4% seems extremely small, in the 7-8 years that I've been with the county, we have never had a payroll that we were able to complete without having errors and having to go back and either fix checks or fix tax issues or fix benefit issues. So our goal was, let's just get one payroll that is what we call a perfect payroll. And the Paycom system and working with HR and lots of time with finance, getting the payroll side up and running, we have achieved that measure and surpassed it. So tell us about our perfect payrolls.
Yeah, I think we actually had a whole month with no problems in payroll. So I know that was like, So an answered prayer, definitely, that we had a whole month. Now that we do have regular issues with, but as long as everybody does their time cards right, they post their vacation and sick leave or their PTO correctly, then everything goes through like it's supposed to. And we had one whole month, like I said, that it was just perfect. But so hopefully the success rate will continue.
And this is one of the ones that we held off sending the internal surveys on until we could get payroll up and running. And so we hope to do one of those internal surveys in 26 that does talk about, get feedback from the staff on the Paycom system, and especially comparing to our old system. So we've received a lot of positive feedback. Like Judy said, we still have some challenges with the system on some reconciliation pieces. When you have a third party processing your payroll, getting that documentation and backup sometimes can be a challenge. But we're working through those, and we definitely have seen a huge improvement in payroll processing.
So just the scope-wise, so that's not just our departments here, that's the courts, it's the sheriff's office.
Yes, everybody at the airport.
Yeah, okay. And so, there's a lot of external factors there too at play. Like you said, people have got to do it right. How about Paycom? I know Paycom has been a challenge, but is it starting to come around and hopefully get us to where we can even be better at this?
Yes. So, one of the challenges has just been getting, 1,000+ employees between all the different folks that are on our system to know how to enter stuff, understand that they have to approve their timesheet, supervisors have to approve their timesheet. So we had a big learning curve with that because over the past 20, 30 years, finance has done the heavy lift on payroll. When I first came to the county, we were still using paper timesheets that were submitted every 2 weeks to the finance department, and someone in the finance department would review them, key them into a system. So we've come a long, long way, a huge turnaround from where we used to be, and we expect continued improvements in this area. But the departments have really gotten on board, and I believe that last time we talked, we had 2 or 3 that were still struggling, and I think we've made some good strides in those areas as well. So
yeah, some of the issues we have are people just forget to, like if they get callback time, they forget to put callback time in there, and if they don't put that in there, they don't get paid for callback time. They get paid regular time, not callback time. And again, we can't tell if they are working callback. They have to be responsible to put that time in there on their own. So, but we do make their checks right the following check. So they do get their correct pay.
All right, we watch it obviously for trends and other things, and we make improvements. Okay, great, thank you.
all right. The next one is to convert 30% of our accounts payable vendors to ACH payments. So, this is one we're going to continue to work on as we move forward. We have achieved it. We're at 39% now. So, there was a huge push that was done by Judy and her team to get us here. So, tell us about that process and how it's going.
So, we started this in April, and we were really excited about this. We had a lot of vendors who were complaining and wanting to come and pick up their checks as opposed to putting in the mail. And so we offered the ACH, and we had them slowly trickle in to sign up, but they have started picking up on the signing up for the ACH opportunity, and we went from 25% in June to 39% in July for the ACH. And this eliminates the opportunity for someone to intercept the check in the mail. And we had that exact thing happen, and a fraudulent attempt happened just this week. So, we encouraged them to do that, and we walked them through setting all of it up and make sure that that it's working properly for them. And so, like I said, we've had a good response, you know.
And so one of the reasons we wanted to go with this was, one, for fraud. You know, there's been a lot of checks stolen out of the mail. They're washed. They change the name. That happens daily. But in addition to that is just the cost savings that comes along with electronic processing versus paper processing. I don't know if you know, but ordering a toner that has magnetic ink, it's called micro ink, that prints on checks so that they can be read and scanned by the banking system, those toners are extremely expensive. So, you know, just being able to eliminate micro toners, the check paper that's got all the security features, the mail cost of mailing out all of these. So again, like this, we're not done with this. We are going to continue to work towards converting more and more vendors to ACH payments. It's positive for them because they get their check the same day that we process checks. And it's a positive for us because there's a lot of time savings. We don't have, you know, we used to have 4 or 5 people every Thursday stuffing envelopes with mailing out checks and, you know, running them through the stamp machine. So just lots of efficiencies here. So we're excited about this. The sign up process is very easy. It's less than 5 minutes for a vendor to sign up. So it's been really positive. So thank you guys for that push and all of the work that went into that, both with IT, helped us to make sure that all of the security features were in place and all of these things. So we're going to continue working to increase that even more. All right, the next one is to post 90% of our incoming wire and ACH payments to the general ledger within 5 business days. You know, we used to be somewhere between 8 to 15 days to get all the incoming wires and ACHs posted to where they needed to be, because oftentimes we get a deposit, especially if it comes from the state, and we don't know what it's for. So we have to try to track that down and figure out what was this money for. Was it, you know, which grant does it belong with, or which program does it go with? So this is, you know, completely turned around, and we've done a phenomenal job. This one's achieved, so great job on this. We're definitely you know, meeting this goal in less than 5 business days.
Actually, we do this in less than 24 hours in most cases, because what we're doing now is we're posting receivables on the grants and the money from the state ahead of time so that the money is already accounted for that we're looking for. But she works, our accounts receivable accountant works to keep these posted within 48 hours. We gave her 5 days, but she works within 48 hours to get them posted.
And then the final 2 are similar to the other departments, are the internal and external surveys. So the surveys are created. The internal surveys have not started going out yet, and we plan to launch those in January of 26 to get those going. We're working with Michael now to build a schedule of when the surveys are going to go out and who they're going to go out to, so that we're not bombarding internal staff with too many surveys, because we do want to get feedback. And we also want to get that incentive program up and running to incentivize people to take the surveys. So we're working on that, but we have launched the external user satisfaction surveys, and please tell us what those were surrounding and what kind of results we received.
So basically, we asked people if they would be interested in ACH and, you know, what their experience with the people in the finance department were. And we got, I'm not sure how many were sent out, but we got 40 responses, and we didn't have anybody that was negative. We had all positive responses, and basically they just said that, you know, we could keep up the good work.
So what is it? Is it like a 1 through 5, or is it 4 stars, or?
There were specific questions, and yeah, it was like I believe, what did we have, like rating of 1 through 5?
It had to do with the timeliness of the processing of invoices.
Yes.
So if they got them on time, and then if they wanted to sign up for the ACH option. and then they could leave their information to do so.
And that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is we don't want vendors having to call us to find out when they're going to get paid. And so we turn around, invoice processing usually within 7 days of receiving the invoices. So, again, this goes to Judy's leadership and the staff in that department to really just focusing. We don't let things sit. Also moving these into an electronic workflow process so that, when it's entered, the department head is approving that for payment, and it's all done electronically. So again, we used to get stacks and stacks of interoffice envelopes every day on invoices that needed to be paid, and now it's all being processed electronically. So it's definitely improved the efficiencies.
All right, so it's August, and so the next QER for this will be February, so we should have some good survey data, really for all your departments. Very good. Okay, that's it for performance measures?
Yeah, that's it for performance. So we'll go right into the strategic plan for these departments first, and then we'll swap back out again. All right, so strategic plan. We have, and these aren't necessarily divided by department, right? So we'll do our best to kind of juggle these. We might have to have some folks come up, but we'll work with these.
Or David and
Dwayne. So I think we can just put another chair up here and we can share microphones. That way did Dwayne leave? Okay, so if one of y'all, whoever is handling most of the strategic plan stuff, or both of you can come up and we can just, kind of try to switch out.
Tamara, what we did the other day, so a lot of these that are green, they're on track, good, we don't have to spend a lot of time with them.
Okay.
The ones though, again, I just want to make sure that we take a look at some of these and start thinking about closing them out, because what we want to see is, for each initiative is a write-up, because we do want to be able to tell the public, what we accomplished at the end of the next year. We don't want to be scrambling a year from now trying to write these up. So as some of these are getting closed out, if they're achieved or if they're on track and they're business as usual now, then we can just write a paragraph or so to it and just start that. And then the ones we obviously want to focus on are any that are yellow or red, and see what we can do to get them on track.
All right, that sounds good. So, we have several that are on track and achieved, and so we won't go through a lot of those, but a lot of it ties into the things we've been talking about with performance measures, with, the different surveys that we're building and things like that. So let's go ahead and start off with 1.1.2, which is to tie the results of our surveys to department-wide performance measures, recognize and reward success, and implement a service recovery plan. So this is, this was really the topic of our meeting 2 weeks ago with some of the leadership to discuss, how can we take all this data that we're getting and make it relevant and get it back to the employees that are doing the work to see how they're rating and what kind of feedback that they're getting. So this is something that we are working on. Michael's working on several things. We had a really good brainstorming session and have some ideas. So Michael, anything you want to add to this?
I think once we get the formal schedule laid out, you'll see this go back to green. We'll get it back on track. And the biggest piece, like Tamara said, is tying the results in, getting them back to the departments, and we'll have some good progress for the next QER.
Commissioners, that's really where we want to be. So you have your goals, you've given us the goals, objectives, and so our work is really to carry out the initiatives, but it's not only on the departments, it really needs to cascade down to individual performance measures as well. So I'm glad to see it, and we're trying to be a little bit smarter on how we kind of track our performance, and for individuals, how we do our performance plans annually, and make sure that we're tying the work that we're doing back to your goals and objectives. So, yeah, I'm curious to see. If we could we go back to I just like to look at 1.1.1, and then we'll just, if there's nothing to report on, again, if there are areas that you think are beneficial for the commissioners or for the public to hear good work that's being done, let's touch on them. But if not, skip right through them.
So we've really kind of beat a dead horse with these, and so we can move on past it. But we are working on these and really gearing up to be at 100%. That was for the internal and external surveys. So the next one was to design performance reviews to incorporate those goals and objectives. We are working on the design of our performance reviews. If you'll hand your mic down to them, because they have a huge piece in the strategic plan with HR. So can y'all just let us know how the performance review design is going and how that build out is going, and then again, we're going to be working to tie in these surveys to these performance reviews in the future.
So currently, 3 month, 6 month performance evaluations are live. It's the first ones that we went with, and that's automatically triggered by PAYCOM. We've launched the public safety annual evaluations that are based on tier date. Those are also automatic enrollment via PAYCOM. Those public safety annual evaluations are the first ones that actually have the capability to add goals. So part of the training that was done was going over employee generated goals, and then manager supervisor generated goals as well. It can be tied directly to the strategic plan at an individual level. So the individual contributor would know how they impact and what they need to do to meet certain objectives. That's also going to be included in the general population annual evaluation as well. Those are slated to start having training sessions start next month, at the beginning of next month, and then roll out mid-month in September with a due date of the end of October.
All right, thank you.
So one thing, commissioners, we're working with Dwayne to do some additional employee relations training for our managers, department heads, and all the way down to the first line supervisors, because that can be the one of the gaps that any organization has, public or private. And so we're going to go over really discipline management. We're going to go over performance management. So from A to Z, really just provide that training. We want to try and do it at least once a year, maybe once every other year, but particularly with the new supervisors, but even some of the ones that have been in place for a while, it's always good to do that employee relations type training and make sure that they come back and they are able to be effective in their jobs as managers.
One of the things that's been added since Mr. Allen's been here is the performance improvement plan. That was not something we had previously. And so this has been really good, and it gives an employee who is not performing at where they're supposed to be an actual plan of how to get to where they're supposed to be. So, this is a very proactive step to mitigate performance issues before they turn into, things that we can't mitigate anymore. So this has been something that we built into PAYCOM now, and it's an easy process, and it's trackable and documented. So this is an improvement as well. So the next one is to implement measures to track service delivery times and develop standards across departments. So this was the other half of our meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago with the executive leadership to talk about what departments we have, and so Michael is going to provide us an update on this one.
Yeah, we do have service delivery times we're tracking across a lot of the public-facing customer interaction departments. We have implemented several new systems, so we're ironing out the tracking and taking that data, and then how do we continue to improve on it. But we've heard some performance measures. Christy's department, David's turning around tickets. We're processing invoices timely, and then we'll hear some more this afternoon with some development reviews and some building permits being issued. So we're looking for more departments to continue to implement these, and as we get more software launched and continue to improve our efficiencies, we'll see more added to this list.
Question about our response to C-Click Fix. Have we had enough experience with that we can begin to assess if we need service delivery times set for a specific request?
C-Click Fix for many departments, and I'll speak specifically for Public Works, rolls into CardDrive. create the service request and card graph. That's something that Michael and I have discussed, and something we'll be moving to is to track what is that service delivery time. In my opinion, the initial is responding to the customer. So you made a request, we're going to respond to you, acknowledge that we've heard your request, acknowledge we have a work order, and then also track what is the service time from when that work order is created to resolving the issue. And see, click, fix, going to other departments, it's generally rolling to a different, it's more of a notification system that goes into whatever system the department's using to track their work.
Okay, so to get back to the question is, have we had enough data yet to be able to understand if we need to set service goals for that?
So I think that we're still trying to figure out how to deal with all the data that we're getting from there. I know, and I'll let Christy talk a little bit about C-Click Fix and the progress and just the usage. But when we last looked, we were over 5,000. What do you?
Yeah, we're over 13,000. I think requests. That doesn't necessarily mean people putting them in themselves, but it's also people who reach out to us and we put them in for them. But with Republic, for instance, we do have that. Like, they have 3 days. When we send them a thing, they have 3 days to answer it, and yes, we do have
right.
data.
That's an easy measure.
Yes.
Very quantifiable. And the reason I ask this is I get copied on a few of them, and wow, they're just all kinds of requests. They don't necessarily fall easily into an activity, and so the reason for the question.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think that is where we want to be at some point. We just got to figure out the best way to kind of categorize those. So, for instance, a pothole or branch down in the road, whatever it might be. We've gotten some really good comments. In fact, Commissioner Sweat and I were at the Goodyear in PA the other night, unsolicited, and there was a gentleman in there that was talking about reporting something on C-Click Fix. Went on and watched it get tracked, and within a couple of days, whatever it was a drainage issue actually, and it got fixed, and he couldn't say enough about it. So there are good news stories out there, but I agree with you. It's a good opportunity for us to collect that data and figure out, all right, can we set performance measures across the board for different things that we need to prioritize?
Okay, thank you.
And with C-Click Fix, do all of our internal departments use that as well? Any department that's on the road on a daily basis that sees an issue, is it quick and efficient for them to, stop sign down, turn it into a C-Click Fix and not have to wait on Public Works to find it or somebody to call it in? We had talked about this a couple of years ago. All the people, first responders, and everyone that's out on the road daily, can we, make sure that they are recognizing that it's our community, and it's not just their job, but
It is very easy for them to do that, and that's something we can maybe get with Brittany about to get the word out to, like you said, the first responders and everybody. This is how you use it. It's really easy. Send us everything you see.
And that, I think that's like definitely a communications thing. We need to let all of our employees know, because that's 884 people that are driving these roads that can see these things and put them in for us to give us the chance to know about them and fix them before the citizen even sees them.
Even employees going to and from work, it's a great tool, and I don't know. I would hope that we would all care enough that we wouldn't need to be incentivized to do that. But if not, maybe look at some employee of the month recognition kind of thing for public awareness. And
we will do that for sure. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So the investing in employee training, growth, and development. So this is a multifaceted measure. It has multiple activities underneath it. So we will try to get through these fairly quickly. I know we're pushing on the time here, but so the first one is to create a internal leadership development program to promote growth and succession planning. We have made a lot of progress on this. We've been doing leadership development sessions quarterly. Can you pull that one up and see what the it says we have integrated our HR facilitated manager and supervisor orientation via the new online platform, and quarterly registrations are emailed out. So we have supervisor training, and I remember several years ago it was a 3-day class that all supervisors and managers had to attend. It was held at the library, and it was very, very difficult to get supervisors and managers out of their roles and out of their job to be able to take this class. And we were supposed to take it once a year, and most of us did not because it's really tough breaking away for 3 full days. So this program has completely been put online now, and we can take it in sections and at our ability and time to be able to take it. So this talks a lot about the disciplinary process, the expectations of managers, and as we work on our service excellence program that will be coming up in another initiative, that is something else that we're going to build into this management and supervisor training. It's related to succession planning. You see today two folks from the HR department that are here, and the director is not here at this time, but this is part of kind of building that bench and allowing our folks that aren't at the director level to have this kind of experience and to be able to see what the directors are being asked to report on, and so we're working on that across the board.
All right. And that's, they're all sick of me saying it over and over, so they're good with it. But yeah, building that bench and building that team, and so we have people that can step up and move into that next position. So I think we're doing well across the board there.
The next one is to create and facilitate a service excellence program that's required for all employees. This is something that is a very timely process, and we are in talks right now with a vendor to help us create and develop our own Glenn County Service Excellence Program, where we will have rewards and recognition that's tied in. We will have a Glenn County motto that all employees are taught. It's taught in new hire orientation. We're going to have some swag to remind our employees and our commissioners and everyone out there that customer service is first and foremost, and that is what we're working towards. So Dwayne is actively working on this, and if y'all have anything to add, feel free, but I know that this is in process.
That's all part about, one of the things that we talked about early on when I came into this job too is building that culture. And culture change, transformation takes a long time, takes years, but we are steadily getting there. And so the expectations that you have on us and then the expectations that we have on everybody across all the departments is that high level of customer service. And I think that culture is starting to show.
All right, so the next one that goes with this is to develop coaching and mentoring programs for employees. So Tanya, our chief of staff, has done a phenomenal job with this initiative. So she started last year a professionals administrative network. Feel free to come up and just talk about this one as well as the emerging leaders program that you are working on.
Thanks, Tamara. Yes, very excited about both programs. So Administrative Professionals Network, we got together about 20 staff that were nominated by their directors that are in that analyst, secretarial, administrative assistant role from all different departments. They all have similar duties and jobs that they perform, but they're kind of siloed sometimes. They don't often get out to meetings like the rest of the staff. They're meeting customers or being that person that in their department takes care of the rest of the staff. So we got them together once a month, and we had them meet each other and have lunch, and then they had professional speakers come in. We had some of our executive staff talk about customer service with them. We watched some videos, and we also came up with some common pain points that they all shared. And then we picked one project that we felt was a stumbling block with them for their role and figured out a way to tackle it. And then we went and did this for about 10 months, and then we had a little graduation ceremony for them. For the 13 that made all the meetings and completed all the trainings and participated in the project, we actually got them a Glenn County shirt, which surprisingly enough was the first Glenn County logoed shirt some of them had. And they don't have uniforms, many of them, and so that was something. So we're getting ready to kick that off again this September, and we've actually asked that class to mentor the incoming class, and we've also asked them to nominate some of the people that they know either within their department or that they've met. But the group became very tight-knit. And now they rely on each other if they have a challenge. They know that there's somebody else out there in the county that's that frontline person for their department that they can count on and go to. So we're really excited about that. And then the other program was something that I picked up from Mr. Fallon. He does talk often about building the bench. And so we came up with a program called Emerging Leaders. And I've been working with Dwayne on that, so very grateful for his expertise in leadership, but we meet quarterly. It's basically manager level staff. So we have our leadership team, we have our executive group that meets, we have our leadership team that meets, and now we have this emerging leaders group that meets. And so we are just continuing to cascade those principles and ideas and management training down. This group, again, they are people that sometimes they run in the same circles, but sometimes they don't. So it might be that somebody like Talisha, who is our finance manager, might not regularly meet with one of our deputy fire chiefs. And so we're in this group together. We're learning things from each other. We're bringing in professional development. And they're actually going to be spending a whole day with an outside consultant that did a leadership training for our department level staff last December. This group will be fortunate enough to have that person come in and speak to them in October. So we're really excited about both efforts, and so always happy for any input that you have for either one of those programs. But thank you.
Thank you, Tanya, for all your work on both of those. They've been very successful, and this just goes towards continuing to show our employees that we care about you, we care about your career, and we are working to develop you within the county. So great results on those. And then the last one is to maintain our tuition reimbursement program to allow future and current leaders to continue their professional education. This was something we had many years ago before the recession, and then it was closed for about 12 years or so. And we brought it back, I believe, 3 years ago, and we appreciate the commission for continuing to allow us to fund this program. We have several staff that are able to go back to school, finish their degrees, continue on with their professional education, which only makes us a more educated and stronger group countywide. So thank you so much for that. All right, so I believe that was the last one on that one. The next one is to review and enhance the compensation and classification plan. So this one is on track. We did the whole public safety pay plans a couple of years ago, I believe. And we are now working on the non-public safety classification and compensation plan. So we are on track and on schedule to start having discussions with the board members and department heads in September, and hopefully bring this to the full board for an adoption and implementation in October. So we're very excited about this, and we've been working with a consultant who has done a phenomenal job. They actually had one-on-one interviews with over 50% of our staff, which is just unheard of, to really get a good, clear handle on what their duties were, what they are doing on a day-to-day basis. They're rewriting all of our job descriptions so that they're consistent across the board. And so this has been a very positive experience, and we're really excited to see the results of this study come back. All right, so this one is building employee engagement and camaraderie through employee-centered activities, recognitions, and benefits programs. So the first activity under this is to create that employee recognition program with incentives, public recognition. So this is something that we really want to focus on more. And now that we've started collecting a lot of data and getting a lot of the systems in place to be able to measure the performance and measure the activities, this is the next step in our phase. Our next phase and step into this program is to develop that. So this will be incorporated into our service excellence program. We're going to find ways where, people can give shout outs to, other employees. A commissioner can easily click on a button and, on their phone and give a shout out to a specific employee that helped them, or somebody that they saw out in public works and how friendly that they were to them. So we are working on this. This will be one of those things that, will take some time to get to, but we're hoping to get this to the finish line by the end of the strategic plan.
Tamara, I'd like to offer a comment. You read my mind. I mean, I want to make sure we as commissioners are hearing the success stories, especially like in the emerging leader type.
Yeah.
So thank you.
So this is something that, we'll be able to also work with Brittany, our new communications director, on, just getting the good news stories out internally, not just to the news, but internally on the great things that we're doing. We have such an excellent staff countywide, and we are doing great things every day. So just being able to share those things. One of the things we've been talking about is creating in our next strategic plan, I won't give anybody a heart attack for this one, but is creating an intranet where we have a place where we can all communicate with each other and get, have a newsletter that goes out there and whose birthday it is and what's going on, because we are all so siloed in our own departments. We just are trying to create that more cohesive team feel throughout the county. One of the things David said to me the other day was that the county used to be like a family, and he still, tries to really look at it that way. But with technology and with, just the busyness of everyone's schedules, we've lost a lot of that cohesiveness and family feel. So we're trying to build that back where we can without creating inefficiencies. So the next one on this is to create an engagement calendar with classes that are offered, trainings that are offered, fun things that are going on within the county that people can sign up for. I know a couple of years we did like staff kickball after hours, so just some different things like that, but creating a calendar where everybody knows where it is and can find it. So this is another thing that's on Brittany's to-do list, and we appreciate her. She's just started with us about a month ago and is off and running to a great start, and I know that she's got several initiatives in here that she's working on, so thank you, Brittany. The following one is to enhance our health and wellness programs for our employees. And this is something where we've made great strides, not only with our employee health center, but with our wellness. So if HR can tell us about the wellness programs and how those are going and some of these other benefits.
So in January of 25, we implemented the Employment Engagement Health Wellness Program, where we partner with Engagement Health to push initiative out to employees to seek healthier lifestyles. We run contests on a monthly basis in reference to how many steps you can get throughout the day. And these are for all employees, but those employees specifically who sign up. We also run incentives. We do incentivize the employees for participating in those programs. In our lunch and learns that we do on a bi-monthly basis for those programs as well. And then just overall health and wellness. The purpose is to really push the initiative of really taking care of yourself, looking at self. So Kristen is one of the leads from Engagement Health, and she sends out a monthly email to all employees in reference to what's going on. And right now we're running a contest which started in July, which will end at the end of August, to try to increase the participation in that particular program. So right now we're sitting at 22% participation rate for the employees. Out of that 22%, we're really trying to really tick that up until about maybe 30-35%, just to get the employees incentivized. So when I do presentations during the orientation process of benefits, we do talk about that. I do walk them through the process of setting up their profile and what to do. And I also like to push the incentives for that reason. So this is one of the programs that we're really buckled down to really try to get out to all of the employees. Any employee can sign up part-time, full-time. So it's not just benefit eligible employees for this particular plan here. We're also utilizing our EAP as well through the Alliance to help push programs out to and recognize and talk about mental health for those employees as well. So this is another issue that we're really trying to really try to promote positive thinking and positive attitudes for employees as well.
Thank you. All right. The next one, and you can just stay on this screen until we need to go into a specific one, but the next one is achieved, and that was updating our hiring and streamlining the job application process. So we heard about that one earlier. Evaluating processes throughout departments to identify areas for improvements and enhanced efficiencies, and this is something that we're doing on a daily basis. My eyes are open. Our department heads are working with this to make sure that, are there areas of inefficiencies? Are there places where we can improve performance? We do not want to be, known as good enough for government work. We want to have that excellent service excellence. So this is something that we are just looking at daily, from all the way from commissioners, down to our staff level. How can we make improvements? The next one, is to evaluate our fee schedules to eliminate electronic payment transactions and encourage online payment methods. And this is something that Judy and the team are working on right now. We will be bringing forth a contract soon with a company called Paymentus. Right now we have multiple different payment platforms throughout the county. So Civic Rec uses one payment platform that we have to pay for. Animal Services uses another. GIS uses another. OpenGov uses another. So we have all these different credit card processing and payment platforms. So we're going to do our best to merge all of these into one program. It will increase our reconciliation ease. That's one of the huge challenges in just reconciling revenues. Is we've got thousands of payments coming in from all over, and sometimes they're not coded well where we can tell what they're from. So we're just trying to work through some of those inefficiencies. So we were very excited about getting this program up and running and converting everyone in. There will also be a cost savings to the county on the credit card processing, which we want to be able to pass on to our constituents as well, and those that are using our credit card features. One of the other things that we're doing on this is we are finding ways to allow for free electronic payments. So in several of our systems, we've been able to set up e-check, so that if someone doesn't want to pay the credit card processing fee that is passed from the credit card processor to us, that we pass on to them, that they're able to pay for free with an e-check. So we're just continuing to do that. Paymentus offers other options like text to pay, Apple Pay, lots of different modern technologies that are going to bring all of this together. So we are working on that and on track with that, hopefully to start the implementation in the next month or so.
And are we putting that on our new website, these different ways that you could pay to avoid Can we make sure
So
that we've got that information there?
It will be, yes. I mean, I know we have that built for certain programs already, like in OpenGov, they can pay. Is OpenGov the one they can pay with the e-check, or is that Muneros? Both of them, okay. And so they have the option to, you know, click here to pay for free, or here you can use a credit card and there's a 3% processing charge. So, you know, we have not built that out yet on the website because we don't have it implemented, but within hopefully the next 6 months, that program will be fully implemented. We'll have all of our revenue intaking processes running through Paymentus. All right, what's next? Develop SLOSS reporting to enhance public access to project information. We've achieved this. We've done a fantastic job on our SLOSS reporting, and very, very transparent. So we'll move on to implementing technological process improvements to provide citizens with online access to submit, follow up, communicate, track, and receive information from Glenn County. So this is one that has multiple initiatives underneath it, but most of these are related to technology. So I know we've talked a lot about technology and different programs that we've implemented. We are working on several additional implementations currently, and we have some more coming up in the future. But if you can just go into that one so we can look at some of the specifics. So we have Next Request, which is done. This is our online open records portal. And that was a huge success. We used to get open records through email, and they would go to different people throughout the county. So this is a central place to track it all, track our time to turn them around, and to also process the fees for those. So that was a huge success that we're thankful for. Implementation of Cartograph to track our citizen requests and work orders for public works. That has been very successful. I believe that Recreation is also using Cartograph as well. So any comments from y'all on that?
It's a great program to have. It's good for public works. It allows us to track and follow requests, as well as have a repository of data and information for historical purposes, going back and determining what's been done. It also allows us to track costs and time on projects, which is beneficial for us to determine how long and how much does it take for what's it cost to repair a pothole on average. The biggest benefit is during a storm event where we have to report to FEMA, we have all that data captured in Cartograph and can pull it out, provide to them as requested.
Tamara, I have one comment. As you know, in the Finance Committee, we occasionally hear of someone who would like a refund of past due tax payments and that kind of thing. So I would be a commissioner that would strongly advocate that we look at when it comes to third-party providers, where liability for errors, so I know we do. I would just want us to continue to be vigilant where liability.
Can you just expound on that a little bit? Is this related to like that payment we received from the mortgage company, or
recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of situation.
Okay. Yeah, and we can work with the tax department on those, but yeah, we do try to really look before we ever implement a system to find any issues or things that are going to cause problems, and try to really dig those out during the discovery phases and the initial research into what systems we're going with. All right, so C-Click Fix, we've talked about that quite a bit, and that has been very successful. We're continuing to do that. Another thing Brittany is working on is we are getting ready to launch a branded app for C-Click Fix, and so this will be branded for Glenn County. It'll allow us to do some extra messaging and things like that through this app, but tying C-Click Fix into Cartograph has really just helped us with that communication with the public and the things that are coming in. OpenGov is another program that we implemented with community development, licensing and compliance, building inspection, zoning requests. We have a lot of things going through OpenGov permits, licensing applications. It's been very successful, and we've had a lot of positive feedback from the public on, just the ease of use and not the paper forms anymore. I had to do something the other day and it said on the website, you have to go downtown to, Chatham County to get this form to fill it out and have it notarized. And I was like, I can't believe I still have to drive downtown in this day and age. So we're really trying to get away from those things. Online interactive budget book. This has been achieved and done. We're continuing to make it better, and we are working on our 2026 book now that will be published hopefully by the end of September, and we will have a new format for it this year. So I believe that it will look even better and continue to make improvements there. Identifying and implementing the new HR platform. So this was Paycom. So we had to find one and figure out all the things and work through those implementations. So we're still working on that one, but continue to make progress every day. So lots of different systems. And then we have a few other systems that are on the horizon that we're working on that should be coming up here that will be added to this list.
So the one I just wanted to mention is look at it occasionally, but we wanted to make sure it was good for the new website that's coming up. But just the daily budget book that's published or updated every morning, right?
So
that's fantastic, just to be able to see every day it gets updated, and it's.
Yeah, we have interim financial statements on our website, and it shows our revenues and expenditures every day, what they are, and it gets updated every day. So that's a level of transparency that I have not seen in other governments. So it's out there for everyone to access, and we're proud of that process.
Yep.
All right, so. Okay, we are almost done here. Developing uniformity and standards in communications and materials. Brittany, I want to give you an opportunity to come up and speak a little bit on some of the things that you're doing with communications, with the website, the quarterly newsletters, and things like that. So if you can come up, and I know that you're new and you're just drinking out of a fire hose right now, but just want to hear from you.
So good afternoon, everyone. Right now, just of course trying to get this website up and running, which is we're excited to do next week. But as far as getting a newsletter together, that right now is in the process. It's very ongoing, just collecting information as it goes. So what was the second part? I'm sorry.
Just kind of some of the overall, one of the things that we have been working on is kind of having some cohesive branding, cohesive letterheads, business cards, email signatures, things like that.
Correct. So we have been working with H2O with our marketing as far as our branding goes. And so right now we're just working with all the departments to sign off on their new rebranded, refreshed logos, making sure that we're keeping the integrity intact because, police and fire, they have their own branded badges and their patches, and so just making sure that we're honoring their legacy there and making sure that they're also rolling into the brand that we're trying to implement here at the county level. So that's a work in progress, but we're seeing the finish line, a little bit of light at the end of that tunnel. So you should be able to see that within the next month or so.
So it's all part of the professionalization that we're trying to do for everything in Glenn County. And so it's a big step, so there's not a bunch of different things out there. We're pretty uniform, consistent, and like I said, professional.
Yes, and of course that's going to take some time. We have so many different departments, but you can expect to see that in the next couple of months.
Right. Anybody, Tanya, do you want to just come up and speak on the website?
I think we're good there because I think we're going to cover it in the work session on Tuesday, right? So we'll have an update there. Good.
Good. So the internal quarterly newsletter, we did have that launched and it was going, and then we changed communications director. So Brittany will get that back on track. So we may want to just change that to in progress or. So that we get that back on track. And then the last one is creating an internal employee directory with job titles, email addresses, phone numbers, pictures of people, what they do, just to, again, provide that more cohesive team feel where if you need somebody, you can figure out, what department they're in and easily work through that. So this is something that we are building into our Paycom system through our position management. However, it is not done yet. We still have a ways to go to finish that, but that is on the horizon. But as Tanya mentioned, the Administrative Professionals Network did a project in their group, and their project was to go into our current employee directory and get everything updated throughout the departments, because if somebody doesn't make those updates, as people change, as phone numbers change, emails, they didn't get made. So we had a lot of very old data out there. So that is all now up to date and cleaned up as of at least 3 or 4 months ago. We hope departments are continuing to keep those internal pages updated. But once we get this built into Paycom, this will happen automatically. We'll have an organizational chart that will be visible, that you can see who the supervisors are and everything. So is that our last one? All right. So kind of sped through those at the end, but happy to take any questions that you have. And I really appreciate all the directors that are here, all the hard work that is going into this. In all of my years in working in government, I've never seen anything like this take place before. So thank you to the commissioners for the direction, and to Mr. Fallon for really getting this started. It has been a big culture change for all of us, and it takes a lot of work to get through this, and especially even just the tracking of these is just a big change for us, but it's been very positive and able to, show all of the great work that's being done. So thank you to all of the staff and directors that are here, and happy to take any questions from the group.
Just a comment, Tamara. When I came on as commissioner 6.5 years ago, it was my goal to change the culture of how we react with our public, to be a more user-friendly government. And I can't thank you enough for coming on board, doing the job that you do each and every day, representing Glenn County in a fabulous way. And we all know we've got ways to go, but we have come so far. And I just want to take a personal moment to thank you for the job that you do and how you represent us to the community.
All right, so commissioners, we're good. Everybody, nice job, and that's it for the goal number 1. Excellent. And so we'll finish up this afternoon, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock with goal number 3. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.